Hey everybody, so I am in Angus, Ontario, so right outside of Canadian Forces Base Borden, and I'm at the Peacekeepers Park. So yeah, rode into Borden yesterday. Um, yeah, I know it's been a while. You guys haven't heard from me really a lot since Brandon, and the last week was busy, but it was a quiet busy. I stopped in Winnipeg. Um, and I connected with some folks there, some friends and some other folks that I hadn't met before, and I also had a chance to visit with my daughter Sailor, so it kept me really busy, and I wasn't really active on social media. It's been a week. Coming home has been a week, and I've noticed I've been itching to get home. I'm excited to get home tonight. I'm actually going to sleep in my own bed, and that's awesome. I'm going to start cooking my own meals, and that's awesome. But I gotta be honest, I don't know how to feel right now. My normal for the last 2.5 months has been riding that bike at least every other day minimum for 8 hours a day, and in a new place, and being on all the time. When I talked to Terry Stead early on, I stayed with him in Newfoundland, and he said, he's like, man, I can't believe, or he's like, he said, like this ride is something else, and he said it's not just the ride. He's like, you're going out there and trying to connect with people all day, every day, and he's like, that part of it would be so hard, and it was. I released, and my immediate reaction was to withdraw, and that's a lot of us. You just withdraw from people and withdraw from the world, and I've gone out and tried to do the exact opposite, and it's very much against my nature. It's very much against that instinct to withdraw and to be alone. And it's been difficult. It's been incredibly rewarding. It's been a very rich and rewarding experience. And I know it's going to take me a long time to just digest all this. And, but I'm already starting to. It's winding down. I'm already starting to think on a lot of things. But yeah, it's hard to be on all the time. It's hard to try and be responsive all the time when sometimes you just want to withdraw. But that was the point, because that's the part of things that was starting to go really bad for me, becoming isolated, and that's exactly what I want to fight. So, my friend Paul McGregor, he rode with me the first day, the first 150 kilometers, and he met me in Tobermory when I got off the boat. Not last night, but the night before last. And then we started from Tobermory first thing, 7 a.m. yesterday morning. And there's been days where I'm just on the bike, and I've got eight or 9 hours of riding to do, and and you're just giving her, and you're just driving it, and there's that sense of urgency. And I wanted to make sure yesterday wasn't like that. So, took the back roads down the Bruce Peninsula, stopped for coffee for like an hour and a half, 2 hours in Wyerton, stopped for lunch for a couple hours in Meaford, and my good buddy Paul French, who I haven't talked to in years, came out, and we got to spend some time, and that meant a lot. Got here to Borden, a guy by the name of Ryan Kyle, who worked with a friend of mine. He came out and rode a little bit from Sunnydale Corners into Borden. Paul's wife Miranda was in Borden waiting for us when we got there. Had another gentleman stop by at at Tim Hortons, and it was good. Riding down the Bruce Peninsula, I hiked it last year, and I was immediately thinking of my buddy Ryan Brooks, because we hiked it just last year, and it felt like coming home. Meaford, Grey Bruce County, the Georgian Triangle, Simcoe County. That's probably the place in Canada that feels the most like home to me. And, so to finish that tour yesterday, to finish that bike ride yesterday, coming down the Bruce Peninsula and just chilling out and taking it easy and taking in the sights and the limestone and the smells and the old growth canopy, and it was awesome. It was just amazing. And, yeah, but that's it. Before I left, I had these moments where, like 12 hours before I was getting on the bike, I was, checking my watch and was like, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I can't believe I'm going to do this. And last night, I was very much, I can't believe this is done. So it's going to take a while. I also had a gentleman come up to me yesterday in Meaford, and I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants to be publicly recognized or not. But he just came up to me and said he wanted to buy lunch, and he's been following me since I left, 2.5 months ago, and he just kind of briefly said that this ride and following along and the things I've shared and how much it meant to him, and that was an amazing. That's happened a few times, from people who served, like as this gentleman had served, and for people who haven't. And those moments are, people keep asking me, what's your favorite part of the trip? And I'm like, I don't even know. I haven't even digested it yet. I don't know. But I have been thinking on it, and that was definitely one of those moments. And there's so many, but another moment, I was in Gagetown, and my buddy Steve was riding with me, and Steve's this big tall Newfoundlander. He's got this big booming voice sometimes, and we were riding with another friend of mine, Terry Hennessy, and Steve knew Terry, and I don't know how long it's been since they saw each other, but it's been quite a while, I think. And so me and Steve arrive at the park. Terry arrives and gets off his bike, and immediately, as soon as he takes his helmet off, Steve points at him and goes, "Terry Hennessy!" in this big, huge, booming, almost angry sounding voice, right? But that's Steve's happy voice. That's when he sees somebody that he genuinely wants to see. That's what he does. It's this big, and it almost sounds angry, like he's accusing you of something. But that's, hearing Steve's happy voice, that's one of those moments that's really resonating with me. I got to reconnect with my son. I haven't spent a lot of time with my son, and I think, I know he's been following along, and and he and his mother, he didn't say it to me, but his mother said, there's some healing and understanding coming out of what I'm sharing. So that's good. Hunter, I love you. Got to see Sailor in Winnipeg. I forgot how many times I've met people and I forgot to take a picture. I just forgot, and I forgot to take a picture with Sailor before I left, and Ash, my stepson, and and I'm sorry for that, guys. I love you. I got to take Sailor out to a movie. Went to see the Meg, which was terrible. She picks the worst movies, but I just thrilled to spend the time with her, and she always laughs because she's like, well, what'd you think of that? And I'm like, I hated that. She's like, I liked it. No, that's good. That's good. I loved spending that time with her, and it's hard. The constantly connecting with people and then having to leave within a day at the most. So connecting and disconnecting, connecting and disconnecting, that has taken its toll. It's hard. It's hard for me to leave. And again, talking about Steve and Terry Hennessy and Marston White rode out with us that day. And I remember sitting there, we got to Salisbury, and we were just supposed to be there half an hour, and we're talking and talking and talking, and I couldn't bring myself to say goodbye. I didn't want to say goodbye. And, finally Steve looked at me and said, hey man, you need to go. And yeah, so that had to happen. That was hard, and that's been hard all along. I've been connecting with a lot of old friends and mentors and other people that I've just met, but you have that connection, and it's hard to say goodbye. And I've been saying hello and goodbye for 2.5 months, and it's definitely taken its toll. So I'm kind of glad to bring things to an end and a close in that regard. So I can start to reflect on all this and what it all means, because I don't know what it all means. I don't know what this looks like going forward, but it's just to sit down and try and think about it and try to put into words what's gone on the last couple of months and how I feel is at this moment nearly impossible. It's just too much. But it's good. It's really good. And I know this trip's going to pay dividends for me for a long time, and I really hope it pays dividends for other people. And again, I've had people like the gentleman yesterday who reached out to me and said that, you know, the things they've heard or things that I've shared, or things that other people in the other interviews have shared have been good, and that means the world to me. That's all I want. I just want to help in whatever little way I can. And me struggling and searching for my way to be whole, I hope through sharing some of that, maybe it helps some other folks too. So yeah. Did I drop the number already? I don't even remember if I dropped the number already. So rode into Borden, checked the odometer yesterday, 26,010 kilometers. That's the total. That is the total from when I landed in Borden yesterday. 26,010 kilometers for this entire trip, from the 18th of May to the 1st of September. How wild is that? I'm floored. Yeah, 26,000. So yeah, to go from Meaford, Ontario to Borden, Ontario, which is an hour and 20 minutes drive, 26,000 kilometers. Most inefficient trip from Meaford to Borden ever. So yeah, so I wanted to stop here at Peacekeeper Park. So this vehicle behind me is a light armored vehicle 3, and yeah, I remember when this vehicle was new, 2000. I remember when we first got them into RCR and we did the LAV trials. We were the first to field them in the Canadian Forces, and then in October, November of 2000, we got called up to go to Ethiopia and Eritrea, and I went to Ethiopia on a week's notice. I was supposed to be there for 30 days. I was there for 90 and change. But that was the first mission that we ever fielded the LAV 3. You know, the first time LAV 3 ever left the country, and you know, so now, much like me, the LAV 3 fleet, back in like 2000, it was pretty new, and now it's a relic. Now it's a museum piece, just like me. You know, 26,000 kilometers on that bike, and you get bonded to that machine. And certainly I'm bonded to this machine behind me. How much of my life was spent, good and bad, in and around this machine or machines like it. But this was also the tour in Ethiopia where my life changed forever. Yeah, we're talking 18 years ago. You know, so that's maybe part of my next journey, is picking that shit apart. But yeah, I felt like this was a good place to sit and wind down and kind of bring things to a close. And so I got to be honest, my social media, my telephone is kind of blown up in the last day, and I just had to down tools last night because I was just overwhelmed. I'm gonna go do my last kind of official visit or outreach or availability or whatever you want to call it in just about an hour here in Angus. But you know, I feel like there's more reflection. I feel like the traveling's done, but there's a lot of the journey left to share, and I don't know what that's gonna look like. I really don't. But if you've reached out to me on social media, particularly in the last 36 hours, and you haven't heard from me, I'm a little overwhelmed, straight up. It's, you get into that battle rhythm, and then you just stop, and it's abrupt, and it's going to take a bit of time for me to process. But I will try and reach out to everybody who's reached out to me, but I will take this opportunity as a blanket statement to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who followed along. Thank you to everybody who's reached out in whatever way, even just to say, hey, how's it going? We're following along, right? To anybody who shared the message, to anybody who's shared how this trip has impacted them, or, you know, or their feelings on it, you know, I appreciate that so much. To everybody who supported me in every single way, donations, sharing, giving me a place to stay, giving me something to eat. That has been absolutely humbling, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. By and by, I'll get all the expenses and everything tabulated, and I'll make sure that's all published. So if anybody wonders, you know, how much money and where did it go, it'll all be published out there. I want to make sure that's absolutely transparent. And yeah, so I don't know. Well, I know what's next for me. So this brings me to, you know, it's Saturday. Tuesday I start school. That's the next mission, and that's a big, and I think I've got more to say about the next mission and purpose and stuff. There's probably more there, but my next mission is school, and I'm going to Fanshawe College, in case you didn't catch it already. I'm doing adventure expeditions and interpretive leadership, so outdoor guiding and adventure, wilderness first responder. So a lot of stuff that's pretty common to my experience already, but I'm just going to start to get some certifications for it. And yeah, and eventually, I mean, obviously, I live to be outdoors. I live for adventure. I'm not done. My adventures aren't over. So this is the next step. This is the next mission. This is the next focus. And I'm rolling straight into that Tuesday. So there's not a lot of downtime. But I've spent the last 2.5 months really looking in the mirror a lot, and a lot of reflection, a lot of quiet time, you know, a lot of helmet therapy or wind therapy or throttle therapy, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of time with my thoughts, but positive time, not that poisonous time when you're alone and you're angry. It's been good. It's been positive. It's been mixed with incredible connections with amazing people and beautiful scenery and just something new all the time. So yeah, it's all one big blur. You know, I was sitting there last night having dinner with a friend of mine, and I said to her, I said, you know, it seems like just yesterday I was sitting here having dinner with you before I left, and now I'm sitting here having dinner with you and I'm done, and I can't believe it. It's gone so fast. It's all just one big blur. So it's going to take some time to pick that apart, but yeah, wow, here we are at 17 minutes again. Sorry folks, I know I go on and on. Thank you for indulging me. If you've actually watched these videos front to back, good on you, because I know I ramble. But yeah, I'm a little shell-shocked. I'm a little, yeah, just like, can't believe it. It's over. I did that. 26,000 kilometers. And I was out just talking to people constantly, which is so the opposite of what I would naturally do. And that's been important. I think it's been a big step forward for me. It's a big step that I needed to take. I've never been shy to be in front of people and talking. But personally connecting that much, that often, is something I don't know that I've ever done. Certainly not since being diagnosed with PTSD. Definitely not since then. There was definitely a big step back after that. And it was hard to connect with people, but you know, I've gone out and encountered a population in Canada that is very concerned about what's going on with veterans. They care. Friends and family that I didn't stay connected with, and you know, and I've had a couple who said, you know, one in particular I'm thinking of, and she said, you know, I never told you I was proud of you for what you were doing before, you know, and it seemed like she felt bad for that, and I said, no, you shouldn't, because I wasn't staying connected either. I was distant, you know, and when somebody's distant, there's that other reaction where you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just give them their space, you know. So it's there's no one side in it, but it was great to connect with her. Yeah, it was great to connect with everybody. There are people I haven't seen in 20 some years, and yeah, the caring and the compassion, and it's been overwhelming. It really has. So anyway, folks, we're at 20 minutes. I've taken enough time. I'm going to get this video edited and uploaded and try and share it as quick as I can. Throw a couple posts on social media. Like I said, if you have posted anything on social media in the last few hours, I might not get back to you for a couple days. I'm just trying to manage this little transition and trying to trying to get myself settled right now in the moment, and it's a little difficult. So, but in a good way. It's all good. It's all very good. And yeah, geez, just thank you. This has been awesome. I'm really without words to describe it right now. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be at the end. I'm glad to be going home. I'm glad to be sitting here in this park right now with this vehicle behind me, because again, this is a lot of my life right here, and I've got to find the place to put it, and I've got to be able to carry memories of my service forward, the good times, and be able to reflect on all the amazing things that have happened and that I've been a part of, and you know, because and the amazing people that have been a part of my life, because it's easy to lose that when you leave, and if you don't leave well, which I didn't, unfortunately. So I feel like I'm in a good place. I'm not that angry person I was 2.5 months ago. I'm for sure gonna have my moments, but there's really so much more perspective. Anyway, I'll talk about that more later. I'm gonna let you guys go right now, and I'm gonna get ready to go meet some folks here in Angus and see what they have to say, and then it'll be time to ride home. All right. Thanks to everybody, to all my friends and family. I love you. Thank you, and I will talk to you later. Okay. Bye.